The dark psychology of value. How to force others to respect you. You are currently being treated as less than you are worth because, whether consciously or subconsciously, you have placed yourself on sale. This isn't a comfortable truth to hear. In fact, it's a brutal reality that many would prefer to ignore. But it is precisely this uncomfortable truth that provides the only solid ground from which we can truly begin to change the trajectory of your life and demand the respect you deserve. Take a moment to truly observe the dynamics of your interactions with others. Do you often find your words cut short as people interrupt you without a second thought? Are your plans frequently disrupted by last-minute cancellations, leaving you feeling like an afterthought? Do individuals routinely solicit favors from you, yet rarely, if ever, extend the same courtesy or offer anything in return? Do they appear entirely at ease with disregarding your personal boundaries, pushing past them as if they don't exist? If you find yourself nodding in agreement to these questions, it's not necessarily because every person in your life is inherently terrible or malicious. The deeper, more profound reason lies in the signals you have inadvertently been sending out. Through a myriad of tiny, often imperceptible subconscious behaviors, you have communicated to them that your value is low. You have given them the impression that you are abundantly available, easily acquired, and perhaps most crucially, that you harbor a deep-seated fear of losing them. In the intricate and often ruthless marketplace of human interaction, a fundamental principle prevails. Abundance breeds contempt, while scarcity cultivates immense value. If you consistently make yourself omnipresent, always there, always ready with a smile, perpetually available, and endlessly accommodating, you become akin to the very air we breathe. Air is undeniably essential for life, yet it is utterly ignored, taken for granted, until it becomes scarce, until its absence is felt. Your constant availability makes you just as overlooked. Today marks a pivotal shift. We are going to fundamentally alter the perceived price tag you have unconsciously attached to your very essence. We will delve into the powerful, often unspoken principles of the dark psychology of value, drawing profound insights from Robert Greene's 16th law of power and the stark, cold logic of Machiavelli. The aim is not to manipulate, but to equip you with the understanding to compel the world around you to fundamentally reassess and recognize your inherent worth. You will embark on a journey to cease being the cheap option and instead transform into the coveted prize, an individual others must actively strive and work to earn. The immutable economic principle of supply and demand isn't confined merely to commodities like gold or diamonds. It applies with equal force and precision to your personality, your presence, and your overall value in human relationships. Consider a diamond. What truly makes it so valuable? Is its utility? Absolutely not. Water, for instance, is immeasurably more useful, vital for all life, yet it is incredibly cheap precisely because it is abundant and readily accessible almost everywhere. Diamonds, by contrast, are extraordinarily expensive, not because of their practical application, but because of their extreme rarity and the immense effort required to find and extract them. You have likely spent a significant portion of your life earnestly attempting to be useful. You've strived to embody the role of the good guy, the unfailingly reliable friend, the exceptionally hardworking and accommodating employee. Your underlying belief was that by continuously giving more, by always being helpful, you would inevitably garner greater respect and appreciation. However, human nature, in its rawest form, often operates on a different, more primal logic. It can at times appear almost predatory. When you overgive, when you offer your time, energy, and presence without restraint or cost, people rarely perceive you as generous. Instead, they often interpret it as a sign of desperation. They assume that if you are so willing to give yourself away so easily, it must be because you have a profound lack of other compelling options. In their minds, you become the cheap option. And it is a stark truth that nothing that is perceived as cheap commands genuine respect. No one truly fears losing something they consider to be of low value. To command respect, you must consciously and artfully manufacture scarcity around yourself. You must metaphorically transform yourself into that elusive diamond, hidden deep within the earth, demanding considerable effort, patience, and even a degree of metaphorical pain to unearth and acquire. The very first fundamental step in this profound personal transformation is to grasp and internalize the psychology of the open door. Many people metaphorically live their lives with their doors wide open, an invitation for anyone and everyone. Anyone can casually stroll in, anyone can consume their time without consequence, and anyone can leave emotional or psychological trash on their floor without fear of reprimand. This manifests in behaviors such as instantly answering your phone on the very first ring, immediately replying to texts even when you are deeply engaged in other tasks, or habitually saying yes to social events you have no genuine desire to attend, driven by a fear of missing out or, more often, a fear of offending someone. This pattern of behavior in its entirety screams insecurity to the world. It broadcasts a clear message: my time holds no significant importance. Your time, your desires, are far more valuable than my own. From this pivotal moment forward, you must learn to metaphorically close that door. You must consciously transform yourself into a fortress. Access to you, your time, your energy, and your presence must become a cherished privilege, not an assumed right. When someone attempts to contact you, resist the impulse to reply immediately. Let them wait. Allow a deliberate gap of time to pass. Let them wonder what you might be doing, what might be occupying your important time. In that intentional pause, in that quiet stretch of silence, true value is not only perceived but actively created. Their minds will naturally begin to fill the void, imagining you as busy, important, a person with a rich and full life that certainly does not revolve solely around them. You are in essence training them, gently but firmly, to wait for you. You are teaching them that your attention is a finite, precious resource, dispensed on your own terms and conditions, never on theirs. Robert Greene, in his profound works, discusses the compelling concept of the crown. If you navigate the world with your head bowed, constantly apologizing for your very existence, you invite others to metaphorically step all over you. Conversely, if you carry yourself with a quiet, dignified sense of self-possession, acting as if you already possess a crown, as if you are a king or a queen in your own right, people will respond with a strange, almost instinctual deference. This echoes his Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. The cheap person is perpetually terrified of causing offense. They are caught in a relentless cycle of adjusting their behavior, desperately trying to fit in, to be liked, to be perceived as nice. Yet this incessant niceness is often a thinly veiled disguise for underlying fear or cowardice. You are nice, not out of genuine generosity, but because you are profoundly afraid of conflict, afraid of rejection, and deeply reliant on the validation of others. The high-value individual, by contrast, is not simply nice. They are without question courteous, respectful, but above all, they are firm. They possess and adhere to unwavering standards. Consider the approach of an ultra-luxury brand like Hermes or Rolex. Do they routinely hold sales? Do they actively beg or plead with you to purchase their exquisite products? Absolutely not. On the contrary, they frequently have extensive waiting lists. They might even, with polite disdain, refuse to sell to you if they deem that you do not adequately represent the exclusive image of their brand. You must internalize and adopt this exact mentality. You are the luxury brand. You possess a meticulously defined set of standards, deeply held values, specific behaviors, and a non-negotiable expectation of respect. If someone fails to meet this price of admission, they simply do not gain access to you. You do not, under any circumstances, lower your price to force a sale. You have the quiet confidence to let the customer, or indeed the person, gracefully walk away. This leads us to what is often the most agonizing aspect of manifesting cheapness, the paralyzing fear of walking away. A truly cheap object often feels clingy. It sticks around, unwilling to be separated. A truly valuable object, however, possesses an inherent self-sufficiency. It stands confidently alone. The profound reason why people so readily disrespect you is that, deep down, they harbor an unspoken certainty that you will never truly leave. They know with an almost cynical foresight that no matter how poorly they treat you, how dismissive they are, you will, without fail, still be there tomorrow, perpetually hoping for even the smallest crumb of affection or attention. In this dynamic, you have inadvertently surrendered all your leverage to them. To genuinely compel respect, you must cultivate within yourself the fierce willingness, when necessary, to sever ties, to destroy the relationship. You must be prepared to metaphorically burn the bridge. This is not a tactic for the faint of heart. It is, in effect, the nuclear option within the realm of social dynamics. When you unequivocally demonstrate to someone that you are not only perfectly capable of surviving without their presence, but are, in fact, genuinely happy and thriving in your own solitude, you instill a profound sense of fear and apprehension within them. You effectively shatter their perceived control over you. The next time someone disrespects you, resist the ingrained urge to argue, to defend yourself, or to painstakingly explain why your feelings have been hurt. Explaining is an act of weakness. Explaining is, in essence, negotiating for your own worth. Instead, silently withdraw, go cold, remove your presence entirely from their orbit. Do not resort to blocking them on social media or phone, as that still signals an emotional reaction. Simply cease engaging. This deliberate absence creates an intense vacuum. It forces them into the uncomfortable position of confronting life without you. And if, in your prior interactions, you have genuinely been a valuable and strong presence in their life, they will acutely feel that profound loss. They will then realize with stark clarity that they simply cannot afford to lose you. And with time, they will likely return, prepared to pay the full, respectful price for your attention and presence. Let us now dissect your communication style, a crucial area where cheapness often manifests. People who are perceived as cheap tend to talk excessively. They are deeply uncomfortable with silence, and so they instinctively rush to fill any quiet space with nervous chatter or incessant talk. They frequently overshare their deepest secrets, their anxieties, and their personal weaknesses with individuals who have not genuinely earned that level of intimacy. They mistakenly believe that by opening up so readily, they are forging deeper connections. In reality, they are often merely boring the other person, simultaneously providing them with potential ammunition to be used against them at a later, less opportune time. Robert Greene's Law 4 advises, always say less than necessary. Words are a form of currency. If a government prints too much money, inflation inevitably devalues that currency. Similarly, if you speak too much, the inherent value and impact of your words diminish. When you do choose to speak, it should be an event, a deliberate and impactful moment. Cultivate the skill of answering questions succinctly, using only a few well-chosen words. Practice the art of looking people directly in the eye and maintaining a comfortable, powerful silence. This strategic silence renders you unpredictable, even subtly dangerous. People cannot effectively manipulate what they cannot fully comprehend, and they certainly cannot comprehend a man or woman who intelligently keeps their counsel. By judiciously withholding information, you compel others to project their own fantasies, desires, and assumptions onto you. You become a blank canvas, and in their minds they will often paint you as far more intelligent, powerful, and interesting than you might perceive yourself to be. The manifestation of cheapness also becomes evident in how you handle disrespect disguised as humor. You undoubtedly know the scenario. Someone makes a snide, cutting comment, a joke at your expense, often in front of a group of people. The cheap person in this situation typically reacts in one of two ways. They either awkwardly laugh along, desperately trying not to ruin the vibe or draw unwanted attention, or they become visibly upset, appearing overly sensitive and reactive. Both of these responses are failures. They both signal unequivocally that you accept the underlying frame, that you are a legitimate target for such veiled jabs. The truly high-value response is characterized by deadpan silence. You immediately cease whatever you were doing. You calmly turn your entire body towards them. You meet their gaze directly, locking eyes with zero discernible emotion. You hold that unwavering gaze for a full 4 seconds. You do not offer a smile. You do not utter a single word. You allow the silence to become profoundly heavy, allowing the atmosphere in the room to become palpably awkward and uncomfortable, not for you, but for them. By enacting this, you are explicitly rejecting their gift of a joke. You are mirroring their disrespect with an impenetrable wall of dignified indifference. In most cases, they will crumble under the weight of this silence. Their eyes will dart away, they will begin to stutter, or they will weakly mumble, "I was just joking." In that powerful wordless exchange, you have asserted your dominance without uttering a single syllable. You have unequivocally demonstrated that the true price of disrespecting you is immediate public social humiliation for them. You must also rigorously examine your availability in the realm of emotional support. Many individuals find themselves perpetually acting as the informal therapist for their friends. You patiently listen to their endless dramas, their painful breakups, and their ceaseless complaints for hours on end, believing that this makes you an exceptional friend. But pause and honestly ask yourself, do they reciprocate? Do they truly listen to you with the same depth and patience, or do they conveniently become busy or unavailable the moment you have a problem or a need? If this emotional exchange is consistently one-sided, you are not functioning as a true friend. You are, in essence, an emotional tampon. You are being used solely to absorb their toxicity, their negativity, and then, once depleted, you are unceremoniously discarded. This role, by its very nature, makes you cheap. You must cease to be a convenient dumping ground for other people's problems and emotional waste. The next time someone begins to launch into a lengthy, draining complaint, gently but firmly cut it short. A polite but resolute statement like, "I can see you're going through a lot, but I truly have to get back to work now," is perfectly acceptable. Set that clear boundary. By consistently refusing to engage in low-level drama and gossip, you send a powerful signal that your mental and emotional space is a sacred sanctuary, reserved for higher pursuits. You are focused on genuine growth, tangible achievements, financial prosperity, strategic power, and meaningful success. You simply do not have the time or mental bandwidth for petty gossip or endless complaints. People will invariably respect you far more when they realize they cannot simply dump their emotional garbage on your doorstep. Reflect deeply on the concept of being the prize. In every single human interaction, a dynamic inevitably emerges. There is always a prize, and there is always a chaser. The chaser is the one who earnestly tries to impress, who attempts to qualify themselves for approval, who actively seeks to win over the other person. The prize, by contrast, calmly sits back, observing, evaluating, and judging. For much of your life, you have likely been the chaser. You have meticulously dressed to impress others. You have carefully chosen your words to please them. You have worked diligently, sometimes to your own detriment, to win their approval or affection. It is now time to fundamentally flip this dynamic. You must cultivate, even if it initially requires a delusional confidence, the unwavering belief that you are the prize. You are the individual with a clear vision, the unwavering discipline, and a compelling future. Others are, in fact, fortunate simply to be within your orbit. When you encounter new people, resist the natural impulse to immediately try to make them like you. Instead, observe them critically and sincerely ask yourself, do I like them? Do they genuinely meet my standards? Are they truly worthy of my precious time and attention? This seemingly subtle yet profoundly powerful shift in mindset will manifest in every aspect of your demeanor. It will alter your micro-expressions, reshape your posture, and change the very tone of your voice. You will cease leaning in anxiously. You will stop overtly seeking external validation. Instead, you will begin, quite naturally, to assess their value. And, ironically, the less you overtly try to impress people, the more intensely obsessed they will become with impressing you. Another insidious way you inadvertently cheapen yourself is through the habit of apologizing for things that are not genuinely your fault or for which no apology is necessary. Phrases like, "Sorry to bother you," "Sorry for the late reply," or "Sorry, can I just ask?" have become ingrained reflexes. Stop it immediately. Apologies are, fundamentally, admissions of guilt. When you apologize unnecessarily, you are, in essence, submitting. You are willingly lowering your own status. Unless you have genuinely caused harm to someone or made a grave, undeniable error, meticulously remove the word "sorry" from your everyday vocabulary. Replace it with expressions of gratitude or straightforward directness. Instead of saying, "Sorry, I'm late," say, "Thank you for waiting for me." Instead of, "Sorry to bother you," simply say, "I have a quick question for you." This may seem like a minor linguistic adjustment, but language profoundly shapes our reality. When you cease apologizing for simply existing or for taking up space, you powerfully signal that you have every right to be there. You signal that your existence is not a burden to others, but rather a blessing, or at the very least, a neutral and rightful presence. The high-value individual moves through the world with an inherent sense of purpose and self-worth, never with a palpable sense of guilt or undue self-effacement. We must also critically address the pervasive issue of neediness. Neediness is arguably the most profoundly repulsive trait a human being can possess. It carries the faint, unsettling scent of decay. It repels people almost instantly and instinctively. This neediness typically stems from a deep-seated inner emptiness, a fundamental belief that you are somehow incomplete or insufficient on your own. Consequently, you believe you require someone else to complete you. You anxiously await their text message to feel loved, or their invitation to feel popular. This makes you, quite simply, a slave to external validation. To shed this cheap identity, you must become entirely self-contained. You must consciously build a life so rich, so challenging, and so inherently exciting that a relationship or a friendship becomes merely the delightful cherry on top, rather than the entire cake itself. You must cultivate a genuine love affair with your own solitude. When you are truly happy and fulfilled in your own company, you become virtually invincible. You can walk away from any unfavorable negotiation. You can confidently detach from any toxic partner. You can leave any soul-sucking job because you possess the profound inner knowing that you will, unequivocally, be fine. This profound lack of neediness is incredibly magnetic. It draws people towards you precisely because they yearn for a piece of that very freedom and self-sufficiency. They desire to be in the presence of someone who doesn't need them, but rather chooses them. Consider the profound law of infection, eloquently articulated by Robert Greene, who cautions us to actively avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. If you deliberately surround yourself with cheap people, individuals who lack ambition, who engage in petty gossip, who possess no discernible standards for themselves or others, you will inevitably become cheap by mere association. You are, quite literally, the average of the 5 people with whom you spend the most significant amount of your time. If your immediate social circle readily accepts mediocrity as the norm, you too will begin to accept and embody mediocrity. To significantly increase your perceived and actual value, you must ruthlessly curate your social circle. It is unequivocally better to be genuinely alone than to be in the constant company of those who actively diminish your market value in the eyes of the world. When you are seen interacting with high-status, high-value individuals, your own value increases by proxy. But even more importantly, when you are seen confidently alone, unbothered, and singularly focused on your personal mission or calling, your value skyrockets because you are powerfully demonstrating autonomy and self-reliance. You are showcasing that you do not require a pack to survive or thrive. You are the lone wolf. And the lone wolf, in its fierce independence, is invariably more respected than any sheep blindly following the herd. Finally, in this crucial first phase of your transformation, you must deeply internalize the understanding that true value is not primarily about what you possess. It is more profoundly about what you tolerate. You are, through your actions and inactions, actively teaching people precisely how to treat you by what you consistently allow. If you permit someone to habitually be late, you are implicitly teaching them that your time is effectively worthless. If you allow someone to raise their voice at you without consequence, you are teaching them that you lack backbone or self-respect. If you permit someone to lie to you, and you subsequently remain in that dynamic, you are teaching them that you are a fool. The fundamental shift in this dynamic occurs when you begin to establish and enforce a clear penalty for bad behavior. You do not react with anger. Anger is an emotional response that grants them power. Instead, you calmly and decisively enforce consequences. The most potent consequence is the measured withdrawal of your precious attention. It is the strategic removal of your benefits, your warmth, your help, or your presence. When people genuinely realize that every act of disrespect, no matter how small, carries a tangible cost, that it means losing a piece of your warmth, your invaluable assistance, or your very presence, they will inevitably stop. They will begin to metaphorically walk on eggshells around you, proceeding with utmost caution. And that precisely is the respectful boundary you aim to establish. In the next part of this journey, we will delve even deeper, exploring the dark art of skillfully creating competition for your attention, forcing people to genuinely fight for the privilege of your presence. We will uncover how to employ strategic unpredictability to keep others constantly off balance and engaged, and ultimately, how to master the ultimate power move, the unwavering willingness to be disliked. But for now, take a sobering look at your current life. Observe the open doors you've left ajar. See the discount tags you've unknowingly hung around your own neck. Now, with fierce resolve, tear them off. Resolutely close the door. Silence the cacophony of external noise and expectations, and prepare yourself fundamentally to become the most expensive and cherished entity in their lives. Now that you have decisively closed the door, no longer giving yourself away freely, we must transition from a defensive stance to an assertive offensive. It is no longer sufficient simply to protect your intrinsic value. You must actively and aggressively inflate it. You must cultivate an environment where the people around you feel a constant, subtle state of competition for your invaluable attention and presence. This strategy taps into one of the most powerful and primal laws of human nature. We inherently desire what others also desire. If you sit alone in a corner, endlessly available to no one in particular but waiting for anyone, you are instinctively perceived as having low value. However, if you are consistently surrounded by engaging people, or if you simply project the aura of being desired and sought after by others, your perceived value skyrockets exponentially. This is the undeniable power of social proof. To definitively cease being cheap, you must master the art of creating an atmosphere of healthy rivalry around you. You must never allow a romantic partner, a demanding boss, or even a close friend to feel that they possess total, undisputed ownership of you. Subtly hint at your other options, your various interests, your diverse connections. Casually mention other individuals who genuinely appreciate your work, your insights, or your companionship. Let them subtly understand that if they fail to treat you with the respect and consideration you deserve, there exists a discernible line of people, equally capable and eager, waiting to step into their place. There is no need for arrogance in this approach. It is merely a matter of being authentically honest about your worth. You are a high-value asset, and high-value assets are, by definition, always in demand. When they truly grasp that you are not a guaranteed fixture in their lives, that you are not a sure thing, they will instinctively fight harder to keep you. They will invest more effort, pour more genuine emotion into the relationship, and treat you with the delicate, painstaking care reserved for those precious things they genuinely fear losing. This principle naturally flows into the critical concept of investment. One of the most significant reasons you may feel undervalued or cheap is that you are consistently performing all the emotional and practical labor in your relationships. You are the one always driving to see them. You are the one meticulously planning all the dates or gatherings. You are the one perpetually initiating text messages or conversations. In the cold, objective world of economics, this dynamic is a recipe for disaster. The person who invests the most time, energy, and resources is invariably the person who has the most to lose. Conversely, the person who invests nothing develops no genuine attachment or stake in the outcome. To forcefully command respect, you must radically flip this dynamic. You must consciously become the receiver of investment, not solely the perpetual giver. Stop over-delivering. Cease attempting to buy their affection or attention with your ceaseless efforts. Instead, allow them to do favors for you. Let them be the ones who come to you. Let them be the ones who wait for your attention. The profound Benjamin Franklin effect posits that when someone does a favor for you, they actually tend to like you more, because their brain must then rationalize and justify why they expended their energy on your behalf. They subconsciously think, I must genuinely value this person, otherwise why would I be doing this for them? By intentionally allowing others to invest their precious time, their valuable energy, and even their money in you, you are psychologically wiring them to inherently value you. You are transforming yourself into an expensive, indispensable investment that they simply cannot afford to walk away from. Now, let's explore the potent power of unpredictability. Humans are inherently pattern recognition machines. If your behaviors, reactions, and preferences are entirely predictable, you become quite frankly boring. And if you are boring, you are perceived as cheap. If someone can accurately predict exactly how you will react to a text, precisely what you will say during an argument, or definitively what your plans will be on a Friday night, they have, in essence, figured you out. They have consumed your mystery, and with it, much of your allure. To significantly increase your value, you must become ungraspable, a dynamic enigma. Consciously disrupt your established patterns. If you are typically always available during weekends, deliberately disappear for an entire weekend without offering any explanation. If you usually embody the role of the peacemaker, suddenly become the one subtly willing to initiate or stand firm in a conflict. If you are typically talkative and engaging, consciously embrace periods of profound silence. This sudden, deliberate shift in your behavior creates a mental short-circuit in their brains. They can no longer easily predict your next move, and this uncertainty compels them to think about you constantly. Why did he do that? Is she angry with me? What exactly is happening with them? The more time they dedicate to analyzing and pondering your behavior, the more significant space you occupy within their mind. And in the intricate game of power, mental real estate is, without a doubt, the most valuable territory of all. Be like the ocean, sometimes calm and serene, sometimes turbulent and stormy, but always deep, mysterious, and inherently dangerous. Never be a stagnant, shallow pond. You must also master the subtle yet profound art of refusal. The word yes often functions as the currency of the slave, obligated and freely given. The word no, however, is the powerful currency of the king, reserved and strategically deployed. Cheap people habitually say yes to everything, primarily because they are paralyzed by the fear of missing out, FOMO, or the anxiety of disappointing others. High-value individuals, by contrast, say no to almost everything, ensuring that their rare yes truly carries weight and significance. When you are perpetually available for every coffee invitation, every meeting and every social gathering, your presence becomes diluted. It becomes common, losing its special allure. But when you consistently decline invitations, when you actively protect your precious time and energy, people invariably begin to wonder about you. What important endeavors are they engaged in that are so vital? They begin to perceive your time as a truly scarce and valuable commodity. And when you eventually do grant a yes to an invitation, they feel genuinely honored, as if they have won a coveted prize. When you decline, do not offer lengthy excuses or resort to lying. Simply state, "I can't make it," or "That doesn't quite work for me right now." Never feel obligated to explain yourself. Explanations are for subordinates, for those who need to justify their decisions. Leaders simply decide. By deliberately protecting your time with the resolute word, no, you are effectively placing a velvet rope around your life, consciously creating an aura of exclusivity and high demand. Let's discuss the potent phenomenon of emotional contagion. If you find yourself constantly reacting to other people's emotions, becoming angry when they are angry, sad when they are sad, you are, in essence, cheap. You are merely a mirror, passively reflecting their emotional state back to them. You lack an independent emotional frame of your own. To dramatically increase your value, you must become the definitive source of the emotional climate, not merely a thermometer passively measuring it. When chaos erupts around you, remain stoic, unshaken. When others are gripped by panic, maintain your serene calm. When someone attempts to bait you into an argument, respond with a profound indifference that disarms them. This profound emotional self-control signals exceptionally high status. It unequivocally demonstrates that you are the master of your own internal world, an unassailable fortress of self-possession. People are naturally drawn to those who are unshakable because deep down, everyone harbors anxieties and insecurities. Everyone is desperately seeking a sturdy rock to cling to amidst life's relentless storms. Be that rock, but be a rock that remains slightly out of convenient reach. Do not allow their drama, their negativity, or their emotional volatility to penetrate your armor. When they realize they cannot easily manipulate your emotions, they will accord you a deep, intrinsic respect. They will understand that you are operating on a higher, more evolved frequency, one that they cannot easily disrupt or control. Another utterly crucial aspect of cultivating high value is possessing a compelling mission. A person who drifts through life without a discernible purpose is, in essence, cheap because they are directionless, constantly waiting for someone else or some external event to imbue their life with meaning. They often mistakenly make their partner their entire mission, or their job their sole purpose. This positioning fundamentally places you in a weak and vulnerable state. To embody true high value, you must possess a purpose, a calling, that is undeniably bigger than any single relationship, larger than any friendship, and more expansive than any social circle. You must be relentlessly committed to a path of personal mastery. Whether it pertains to your career, your physical well-being, your artistic pursuits, or your entrepreneurial endeavors, you must be deeply obsessed with unlocking and realizing your own boundless potential. When people observe that you are genuinely driven by a profound vision, they inherently understand that they are not, and never will be, the absolute center of your universe. They know, with a chilling certainty, that if they choose to leave, you will steadfastly keep moving forward on your path. This quality makes you incredibly attractive. It makes you formidable, signals unequivocally that you are destined for great things. And if they wish to accompany you on that journey, they had better exert themselves to keep up. A man or woman with an unwavering mission is never cheap, precisely because their precious time and energy are dedicated to something inherently higher and more significant. They simply do not have the time or inclination to waste on petty games, trivial distractions, or disrespectful individuals. Consider too the powerful concept of the willingness to walk away. This is, without question, the ultimate negotiation tactic in any scenario. In any deal, the person who displays the greatest need for the deal is invariably the one who loses leverage. In any relationship, the individual who needs the other person more is the one who ultimately forfeits power. You must diligently cultivate a profound mindset of detachment. You must love yourself sufficiently to possess the inner knowing that you will undeniably be fine, regardless of what external events transpire. This does not imply a callous disregard for people. Rather, it signifies that you hold your own dignity and self-respect in higher esteem. If someone consistently crosses a boundary, if someone persistently undervalues you, you must possess the iron will to cut them off entirely. Cold turkey. No looking back, no second thoughts. When you radiate this strength, people can feel it viscerally. They sense that you are not bluffing, that your resolve is absolute. They intuitively understand that there exists a definitive line they cannot dare to cross. This creates a natural, unshakable boundary of respect. They will then proactively police their own behavior, not out of fear of your anger, but because they genuinely do not wish to trigger your permanent departure. The very moment you become afraid to lose someone, you have, in essence, already lost them. The moment you are truly willing to walk away, that is precisely when you keep them forever, bound by newfound respect. Finally, and perhaps most liberatingly, you must eradicate the impulse to seek closure. Cheap people are often consumed by an obsession with closure. They desperately crave to know why. Why did you cheat on me? Why didn't you call me back? Why don't you like me anymore? This relentless need for explanations is, at its core, a desperate plea for external validation. You are, in essence, asking someone else to define your reality and your worth. High-value individuals do not require external closure because they skillfully provide it for themselves. The closure in these situations is the disrespect itself. The undeniable fact that they treated you poorly, that they violated your trust or diminished your worth, is the only answer you truly need. Do not chase after people for answers that will never satisfy. Do not compose lengthy, emotional letters explaining your hurt feelings. Do not engage in the demeaning act of stalking their social media profiles. Simply accept the stark reality. Learn the invaluable lesson it imparts, and gracefully pivot your focus forward. Your dignified indifference to their reasons, their justifications, or their lack thereof is the ultimate power move. It demonstrates unequivocally that their opinion of you is ultimately irrelevant to your self-perception. It shows that you and you alone define your own worth, and no external event or person can shake that unshakable foundation. This profound transformation from being cheap to becoming truly valuable, from being largely ignored to being deeply respected, is emphatically not an overnight fix. It is a comprehensive rewiring of your entire existence, a fundamental recalibration of your self-concept. It will demand that you metaphorically kill the part of you that instinctively begs for love and validation. It will require you to courageously birth the part of you that naturally commands respect. It will, without question, feel lonely at first. When you cease being the perpetual initiator, your phone might indeed fall quiet. When you courageously set firm boundaries, some people, those who benefited from your lack of them, might choose to leave your life. Let them go. This silence is not emptiness, it is fertile space for new, high-value individuals to enter your orbit. Space for you to meticulously build a life that fills you with profound pride and purpose. You are actively shedding the dead skin of your old, undervalued self. You are refining your very essence in the crucible of discipline and self-respect. Do not fear this temporary darkness. The most valuable treasures in the world are often discovered in the deepest dark. Gold hidden deep in mines, pearls nestled in the ocean's abyssal depths, and your true, untapped power residing in the profound depths of your own psychology. You have spent more than enough time being the overly nice guy, the easy option, the convenient backup plan. That ends today. From this moment forward, you are the prize. You are the standard against which others will measure themselves. You are the one who chooses, decisively and with unwavering self-worth.